What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel, episode 20, fuel surge tank setup, let's go. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Carrying on with this STI build. In today's episode we're going to check out the fuel surge tank setup that I've got going on. So I've come up with a custom bracket that I wanted, just my type of idea. All the boys would know that if anyone's got some weird ideas, it'll be me. So I just wanted something different to the traditional surge tank sits in your boot and the two fuel pumps or filters are lying down side by side. I just wanted something a little bit different. So I've got it all set up now, all bent up and welded. I just need to screw stuff into place. So let's check it out. This is where it all started, from a picture on the wall. So there's my plate that I've come up with the dimensions that I needed folded. And that's what it looked like from the side. So the surge tank sits on the top of the plate with these two upside down dart things, but those were my brackets to hold the filters. So the kind of idea that I wanted to do was floating angled filters. Yeah, so we've gone from that into something like that. I haven't screwed this on yet, so I can take that off. I've only screwed the filters in at the moment. If I turn it sideways, that's pretty much what we're looking at. So again, shout out to the bro Dean for welding this up for me. I made these brackets, and because I'm using Radium gear, I decided to throw in the RA logo. Hope you guys don't mind, Radium guys. Don't worry, I'm not going to sell this. So I've got a RA logo on that side and an RA logo on that side as well, but that's pretty much it. So that's kind of what I wanted. I wanted my filters floating in the air type, so to speak. Everything is radium on this so far. So I've got the radium surge tank that has two pumps inside it. So I'm running the, I'll have to get the numbers and put them in the description. I've slipped my mind at the moment, but it's the two AEM pumps in there. So this particular surge tank can run 3 pumps, but I'm only running 2 at the moment. So that's that part, and then I've just got the 2 Radium Engineering fuel filters as well. So one's a 10 micron and one's 100 micron. And then I thought I'd go all out and purchase the Radium fuel filter brackets, which are awesome. One thing I didn't know until I got the brackets was, although the brackets sit flat, which is what this plate is, although they sit flat, it actually ends up putting the things on the angle. So if we look at the plate, they're not flat, they're like angled that way. So it kind of gives the impression that it's leaning to the left a bit and facing the right, which kind of messes with the whole look, because now, even though these brackets are spaced evenly, exactly the same measurement apart, when you put that on, that filter's closer to the tank and this filter's further away, and it's all because how the brackets are. So what I might do, I hummed and hawed about it, thought who cares, I'll just leave it, but what I might do is I might flip this bracket the other way, which will mean what I was trying to do was keep the logo the right way, but I might just flip it upside down, so that one will be upside down, but that might even stuff out. and I might just check and see what that looks like. So I've got some bolts to screw this to the plate. So the whole idea is that this all bolts to my plate. I then go bolt my plate into the boot of the car, and then I can hook up all my fittings and also the wiring as well. So for now, I'll get this bracket off. Yep, I'll get this bracket off and I'll try and flip it around and we'll see what it looks like. After that, let's go. Okay, so now let's take a look at it. So it pretty much did what I thought it would do. It pushed that filter back to the right, and now it sits a bit a bit more even, but like I said, now I've got an upside down Radium logo. But if I was to have it one way or the other, I'd probably have it this way. So pretty happy with that now. And I think looking at it, this one's a bit crooked, which is annoying. Maybe I can chop it off, but I'm not going to worry about it now. I think they both might be crooked. It's kind of an optical illusion when you've been messing with it too much. I'm just going to leave it. But I think this one is, if that was level, it's kind of down on that angle. Kind of needs to twist up a little bit. But it is all welded. Not going to worry about it too much. Just in case if you're wondering why I don't have both greens at the top or down the bottom, it's because on these particular filters the green is an outlet. Can't spin that around, but you can kind of see, if I can get the right angle, the green is that outlet and the blacks are inlet, if you can see that. Probably not. Take my word for it. You probably can, I'm not sure, you could probably reverse it around the other way. I'm not sure if the filter only works one way. But these do have interchangeable filters, so when it is time to change it, you can buy more filters from Radium, unscrew it, put it in, slip out the old one, put in the new one, put the cap back on, which I'm guessing most of the filters do nowadays anyway. So now I've got pretty much the filters in the right place. What I'm going to do now is mark the holes for the main surge tank. Hopefully I get it straight. Yeah, hopefully I get it straight and pretty center. But that's pretty much the look of it. I can probably twist that one round the other way. And that's pretty much how I work. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back. Carrying on with this fuel surge tank setup. Today I'm going to give this a go, installing the LED indicator. So it's just a level switch, as I said before, just to make sure that this has always got fuel in it, and if it gets low it'll signal this LED to let me know, pull over and check it out. So what I need to do is this part here actually goes inside the surge tank. So I wasn't planning on pulling it apart, but now that I have to, I'll get the lid off and we might as well check out the pumps that's inside it, as well as putting this indicator in, or that level switch, which is pretty lucky because I went to go and do the screws and a few of them were already pretty loose. So maybe you're meant to check it, I'm not sure, but I'm glad I did. So let's get the lid off and see what's inside. Alright, so this is what the cradle looks like underneath. So there are the two pumps. See if I can get a close up on that. So they're both AEM pumps. What does that say? 340 LPH at 40 psi. So I've got two of those, and the cool thing is I don't really need to install them because they come installed. So this one here is pump number 2, which is that connection, and then the pump on the right, I've put the wires around the other way, and that's those connections there, which is pump number 1. So 1 and 2. And the cool thing is, at the bottom of this cradle is that's how they do their filter. And I don't think I'll get to the stage, but maybe there's a spot for a third pump, which is that one there, which we're not using in this setup, so we're just going to wire up the two. But yeah, that's what it looks like inside. So it's pretty fancy, I think so anyway. But anyway, let's start installing this level switch indicator, which sits in there or something like that. Okay, so I think I got that part right. So that they've got a thread that's up here that just screws into it. I've just done that up pretty snug, and then that's your little float device there. I'm not sure yet how it triggers it, but we'll see. We'll carry on. I think that's right. I only read the instructions once, but we'll carry on. Actually, before I sign off with this little segment, what I can do is I can put this lid back in the tank now, but I thought we'd just have a look inside the tank, and as expected there's nothing in there. But I hope you can appreciate what I love about this stuff, and it's just nice gear. It's all just beautiful. Nice little O-ring there to seal that. So yeah, now that I've got all that part set up, it's pretty much that sorted. So now I can put this back on and bolt all that back up. Okay, so I figured out how it pretty much goes. So most times this indicator will sit in where I've got this black plastic hose that'll sit in there, and you can actually just wire the positive negative straight to any of these fuel pumps and it'll work. But like I said before, I don't want this light in the boot because I'm never going to see it while I'm driving. I think the other thing you can do, I'm not sure how to do, is you can hook it up to your ECU. So if it loses volume, or if this light goes off, it can actually trigger the ECU to maybe shut the engine off. I'm not quite sure. I think for me, just for now, I just want a light just to say that this is working, or got no fuel in it. So what I've done is I've pulled those two pink wires that comes from the sender and the side straight out the top. I've put this wire covering that I had lying around on it, and I'm going to run this all the way up to my dash, where I will put this light, and then just find a power and negative up there that'll hook up to the ignition maybe. So when the car's on, this has got power to it. But yeah, pretty much as simple as that. So I'll have to extend these wires from the boot, which won't be hard. There's still pretty much nothing inside, so that's good. Run some wires up to the dash and drill a little hole, or mount that somewhere in the dash. So that's that part. So yeah, I'll get some wires and sort that out. So I've got this tray folded up, gave them the measurements, and man, these guys are awesome at folding and stuff. But pretty much I just got to put a weld down there on all four corners actually. But anyway, now I haven't tried this, and this is going to look really silly if it doesn't fit. Let me just set the camera down somewhere. Alright, so what I'm hoping is that this thing sits in here. Hopefully I gave the right measurements. Yo. So that's how it has to be. And as well as that, if I bring it forward a little bit, please don't tip out. So what I'll do is I've got a little fitting here that I will weld onto the bottom. Put that fitting on, and then I'll have a hose just running out of the wheel well, and that with probably a grommet in the middle and the hose to the exterior of the car, and hopefully that can stay like that full time. But yeah, so that's what I just push that back a bit. So yeah, so most guys don't have a plate like this, but when you put a surge tank in the car in the boot from now on, it's got to sit in some sort of drip tray. Now I've just made this 60 mils high. It doesn't have to be 60 mils as far as I know. All it has to do is catch fuel if this thing leaks. Now I'm guessing that the set guy doesn't know I've got a Radium product, and this stuff is wicked. Well, I don't know, I've never used it before, but anyway, that's what has to happen. So I'm going to sit that in there. We're just going to weld some short welds about that much on each corner so that won't move. And then what I'll do is I'll put some L brackets on this drip tray. So this plate and this drip tray will become one when I do the tacking. And then I'll put some L brackets on this, and that's what I can bolt to my plate in the boot. And then I'm guessing by the time I put the drip tray in, the hole will be about here for the drain, and that can go straight down through that, straight down through the wheel well, and just stay there full time. So yeah, that's my plan today. My welder Dean, he's racing today with the rest of the boys, so I can't get him round. But no doubt we'll get some time to weld to weld that up and weld all that together, weld the fitting on, and then run some hose on it. What else? So yeah, so today let's go and put all these fittings on. I'm pretty sure I've got a plan, good plan sussed. I won't know till I start putting it on. I hope I've got enough hose, got about 1.5 meters there. And the other thing I might go and do as well is this plate came with the car when I bought it. Then I sold it to a mate, and then I got it back off him. But the boys aren't really liking it with this checkered stuff, and it looks ugly, which I agree with, so I might pull this plate out and make a new plate. It was pretty cool, it served this time, but it doesn't really go right to the edges, as well as over here. It's been cut short, and I'm guessing that's because if it was perfect, we'd never get this thing in the boot. So I'll use it today to finish off connecting my fittings and stuff, but after that I'm going to pull this plate back out and I'm going to draw a new template for a new plate. I'll get a new plate cut, that one that will go right through to the sides, and then again I'm stuck with that issue, I can't get it in the car, but I've got a plan. Got a plan for that, but that'll be another episode. But today let's just get these fittings on. Let's go.
What we do here is go back.
I thought I'd just explain what I'm sort of doing with my fittings before I carry on. So these particular products from Radium come with certain fittings, so I'm going to pull these off. Alright, so the return supply and overflow have all got 6 AN fittings on them, but from factory the Radium one sends for the pump out. So this is the one that goes to the engine or to the rails. Comes with this fitting here. So this is this end here where it's flat and it's got an O-ring. They call it a ORB fitting, and then it's into a AN fitting. So that's a -8 on there. So that comes factory with the pump when you buy it. But I've decided to keep everything -6 for now. I've been told that that should be enough. So I had to pull this ORB fitting out and put in a new one that I've got, so it ends up in -6. And so that's the pump itself, or the surge tank itself. And then I've got the filters. So the filters come with a 10 ORB female hole on all the ends. So what I need to do is I need to buy same fitting I've got in the pump, a 10 ORB fitting that'll end up as a -6. So that's why I had to put the filters back on, obviously, because I want them hooked up. And now I can put -6 AN fittings so everything hooks up. Yeah, so I'll carry on putting the other ORB fittings in there, and then I can put my elbows and hoses on, etc. I've also got these fittings here, so these ones here, and it's got a little olive in these, and this is meant to hook onto the factory steel lines. So what I'm trying to do is cut these off a little bit, put that fitting on, and which will allow me to put on a AN fitting as well, so I can connect my hoses to this. I thought about making a new plate, putting AN fittings on here so I can just connect to it, but yeah, I can't remember where I saw these, but but yeah, I found these fittings here. So hopefully that'll work. I'm pretty new to them, so I'm not sure how it goes on properly, but as always, I'll do my best to figure it out. Anyway, let's carry on. Okay, so I'm just up to starting to put a couple of hoses on now. Now, when you put AN fittings on, it's helpful if you've got, you can buy, I know you can definitely buy a aluminium crescent that you can adjust, and it doesn't scratch any of the fittings. Now I don't have one of those, but I've got the proper size spanners, so I really should be using the alley spanner or crescent, but I don't, so I'm just going to use these for now. These fit on quite snug, and as long as I don't move too much, I shouldn't scratch them. But yeah, just a tip, if you don't want to scratch your fittings, get the proper aluminium tools, but they are pretty expensive, but worth it in the end, I guess. But I should be alright. I'm pretty confident that I won't scratch these ones. So what I'll do is I'm just gonna cut the video here. This is gonna chew up a bit of time getting all the hoses and stuff sorted, but once I finish this little part, I'll check in with you again, and then move this into the boot and then carry on from there. Okay, new day today. Carrying on with this fuel pump wire up and connecting it up. So today I'm going to do the wiring. Got my young fella here today to give me a hand. But I've went out and bought all the bits I need. So I've got some positive negative cable, 25 amp fuses, fuse holders, and a couple of relays as well. The pump came with its own fittings. Now these are American fittings, so I don't have the proper crimping tool, but I think I'm just going to do a combo of squashing it up as best as I can and maybe a bit of soldering. We'll see how we go with that. So I've got everything I need to do the wiring, and then once I've got the wiring sorted, I'll move on to the fittings. But this is my diagram. Where do I start from? Battery, positive, will run to the two fuse holders, the 25 amp fuses. So I need two, one for each pump, because I'm doing a stage setup. So those of you who don't know what stage means, it means both pumps, I've got two pumps, both pumps won't be on at the same time. It'll always run one pump, and then I'm pretty new to it, but you can set the second pump to kick in at a certain PSI, or yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how it goes, something like that anyway. So that's what stage means. So when you do that, you need two separate lines for each pump. So I've got two fuses. It's recommended that I use 25 amps from Radium. That'll come into the relays. So again, two relays, one for each one, pump 1, pump 2. The power will go to the positives on each pump, and the ground will just go to ground. And then the switches I've got, I'm going to use my ECU as the main switch and the ignition as the other side of the relay as well. And that's pretty much the setup. So now I just got to go and do that. So let's go do that. So as I was editing these episodes, I've noticed that I've misplaced a lot of footage, hence some of the titles that I've put in. But I really wanted to explain how I've done the wiring, just in case someone out there, one of you, is keen to do your own wiring. It is a scary process if you don't know anything, and it took me a little while. I had a little bit of help from a few mates who are auto sparkies, so if this video can help you, that's wicked. So I'll just go over how I've hooked up my relays and fuses. Hopefully that'll help you out if you're wanting to do it. So I've ended up putting some leftover alley plate in here that I've bolted to the car just to give me a surface to put the relays and fuses on. So I've got a relay and fuse on the left and another one on the right. So these two are pump 1, pump 2 over there. And I am using 25 amp fuses, which are inside these fuse holders here. And then I've got the relays. So the relays I've decided to use 30 amp relays. And I'm pretty sure that most relays are the same. You either have a 4-pin or 5-pin. I'm unsure if there are any other type of relays. I mostly have used 4-pin relays with stuff I've done, so that's what I'm using in this setup. So on each relay you always come across these numbers: 30, 87, 85 and 86. So I'm just going to explain what those numbers mean. So they refer to the pins that are underneath, which is what all these are connected to. So on the underside, the numbers are imprinted right next to the pin, so you know which pin is what. So what I've done is I've got these two wires that I've hooked up to the battery to get my 12 volt from, and then they run up to, one goes to one fuse and the other white one goes to this fuse. So from the battery you need to have it fused, and then from the fuse it goes to the relay on each side. So the number that you'll go from the fuse to the relay, that'll be pin number 87 on each relay. Okay, so I'll just say that again. Positive wire, even if you're just running one pump, positive wire goes to the fuse, then from the fuse into the relay using pin number 87. On the other side of that is the power to the pump, so that is pin number 30. So then I've gone from 30 into the positive wire, and that will go to the positive on the pumps. I don't want to show you the pump yet because it's finished, and I'd rather wait till the end of the video. So one more time, from the battery to the fuse into the relay number 87, out of the relay of number 30 pin, and that will go to the positive of the fuel pump. Then you've got the other two, which is 85 and 86, and in this case I've got 85 going to the ignition up the front, and 86 will go to the ECU up the front. So that's what I've used this cable here. So I think the red one, I'll have to double check, but the red one is my ignition cable, and then the black one on here is my one that'll go to the ECU. So I've got one on this side as well for that relay, so they're both up here. And then my triggers I've just got lying up here, so I've just run them down the side of the car, and I've just labelled them FP2, fuel pump 2, and fuel pump 1. And in this case I know I've made the red wire the ECU wire, and the black one the ignition wire. So ignition can go to the same one once I find it, and ECU will need to go in its own output or input. Yeah, so stoked with that. It's another big tick off the list, wiring the fuel pumps. So now I just got to carry on with the fittings and hoses. So I'll grab some more stuff because I don't have any. Have to do a measure up, etc., and make a list of what fittings I need, and then we'll get on to that. Ciao for now. Okay, so far this is what I've got. I'll pull it out a little bit so I can't, it's all hooked up. But pretty much that's what it looks like. I was a bit worried that it was going to look really spaghetti-ish when you put all the lines in, but it's not too bad. I'm pretty happy with it. And then I've got my wiring that I did the other day. Just hook up those, and yeah, but that's all the lines and fittings done pretty much. So to finish it, I need to sort out the fuel hanger, and then I need to sort out that drip tray that I've got, which is over here. So hopefully Dean's going to come back around this afternoon, hopefully, if not tomorrow. Got this plate bit bent, folded, So we just need to weld the corners. I have made some feet, some little tabs, so we'll just put those on the side somehow, drill a hole in there, and that's what I'll screw to the plate. And then I'll weld that surge plate on the inside of that, so that's all one piece. And where's my fuel hanger? Fuel hanger, here it is. So I've pulled everything off this fuel hanger because we're going to weld it. Pull the pump off and wires, etc. So I've cut the feed and the return off, and I've left the little, this is the one that goes to the other side of the fuel tank, which is that hose there. I'm not quite sure how it works. If somebody knows, just let me know how it works, because I know there's an extra vacuum line that sticks out in the engine bay, which a lot of people just leave open, which I thought was this fitting, but it's not. This one goes to the other side of the tank. But where does that vacuum line come from? Does it come from that side of the tank as well somewhere? I'm not sure. Anyway, so what I've done is I've chopped the hoses off like that, and that was a big gamble because I've only got one bracket and I don't want to stuff it up, but I'm pretty confident. So I've done that, scuffed it up a little bit. I probably need to do just a little bit more, get that zinc coating off. And then I've got a couple of stainless steel AN weld-ons that we're going to weld straight to the top of that. And yeah, so this is steel, so those are stainless steel, so we'll weld those two fittings onto there, which will allow me to hook up these ones here. And those are those two that are hanging, and there's the other one there. And then what I'll do is, when that's all welded, fuel pump back on, wiring back on, put that back in the hole, bolt it all up, put the plug back in, hook up those two fittings, put the plate in, bolt it down to this plate, or actually I'm meant to make a new plate, but we'll put it to this one for now. And then she's oh no, I've got to put the drain in off the drip tray, and then she's done and dusted. But for now, all the fittings are done. So like I said, I went through the week changing fittings and changing ideas nearly every day, but I'm happy because that part is all done. So getting closer with that. I've got 3 big jobs to go. 1 is finishing that surge setup, 2 is the vacuum lines, and then 3, which is probably the biggest, is sorting out all the wiring. So getting really nervous about that one because I don't know crap about wiring. I know the very minimum basics, but I've got some help with it, so as always that'll be in another episode. So next up on this, we'll show when Dean gets here, and we'll weld some stuff up, and hopefully I might be able to get that fuel hanger back in as well. But yeah, so far going well. Back again Friday night, got some company tonight, boys having beers, got Dean back doing some more welding, welding up my drip tray and feet and stuff. Be good to finally get that out the way, and sort these fittings out on the fuel hanger will be good. So perfect time to have a beer. This guy here really wants a Subaru. What's the time?
8 o'clock.
It's 20 past 1. 1:27 in the morning. We're still going. We've added to this bracket, and all we've added on is this little plate here. So this is the alternator bracket, coil pack, and all we've done is added this plate on just to hide all the crap that goes underneath. So it's stainless, it's got a little bit of weight to it, Check out those pretty welds. Reminds me of, oh yeah.
What?
Our drip tray is finished, so that's all one piece now. I need to drill some holes on the tabs so I can secure it to the plate in the car. We welded the plate just with little tabs in there, and then I remembered I had to put some nuts underneath, and now I've got no access to that. But we're going to put some riv nuts in it so I can secure the surge tank to it, so that's all good. I've run out of riv nuts, so I'll go grab some tomorrow and put those on. And then we've got our drain on the bottom. So in that will go this little thing here, and I'll put a hose to it in the bottom of that, out the wheel well. So now we're up to the last part for the evening, which is this fuel hanger, and it's a bit dodgy. It's not quite ideal what we're doing, but we're going to give it a go anyway.
A bit of a gap.
The problem we're having is I can't drill that anymore because it'll stuff up the pipe on the underside. But with these fittings, I can grab another one. They've got these steps on them, so really you're meant to drill the hole bigger so it sits in it and sits flat, which will make the weld a whole lot nicer, but it's not. It's kind of sitting like this. So it's got that little gap underneath, and that's what Dean's trying to fill at the moment. So we left the hardest part for last. But we'll carry on and yeah, we'll just see how we go. Well, we made it. 10 past 2 in the morning. And it took a little while. But now we have 2 AN fittings on this fuel hanger.
Never ever done one of those before.
Happy with it, bro?
Yeah, bro. For the first one, yeah. I do. Just happy it all bolts up nice and still a bit warped.
It did warp the plate a little bit. I don't know if you can, oh, you can kind of see that in the camera, but I'm just going to bash it straight. Get a new rubber seal for this because the old one's pretty knackered. So in the morning I will put all the pump and wiring back in, put the plugs back in, and then I can bolt that, give it a bash. Oh, I'll have to order in a new seal, but I'll chuck it back in anyway, because now I can finish off the whole few surge setup. So happy with that. Shop, bro.
All good.
Your first time welding this stuff, eh?
Yeah, well, one of those, yeah.
Bit of a stuff around. The plug got a bit warm, but a little bucket of water came in handy. So that's us for the night. Had enough beers. So yeah, we'll carry on tomorrow. Sure. Alrighty, finally got my fuel hanger back together. So I'm not sure if I mentioned, but this internal pump that I'm using is not your average Subaru one. It's a little bit bigger. So this is the Bosch, it's not the Bosch 044. Not sure if you can see that, but it says Bosch 0580 254910. It's equivalent to the Bosch 044 external pump, but it's the internal version. So that's what I've got. I'm a little bit worried that it might be a bit overkill for filling up the surge tank, but I've talked to the tuners, they reckon that'll be fine, but we'll see what happens. So anyway, I finally put all this back together, hooked it back up, seems pretty good. I am a little nervous about the welds that Dean did. I just don't want them to leak. I don't really care what they look like, although I think it looks sweet as. But hopefully they are sealed and everything just works like it's meant to. That would be good. I had to go to pick apart to get another seal. That was annoying, but I've got one now, so that is ready to dump back into the fuel tank, and hopefully I never have to pull this out again. I just need to straighten this filter a little bit, or the sock. And what I might do is just give the fuel tank a bit of a wipe with some petrol before I put this back on. But once I put this back in, I've got to put all my surge tank setup back together inside the, where is it, back into the plate. So we have to take everything out to weld all the feet on, etc., and the fitting and stuff. So still got a little bit of work to do, but I can carry on and put everything back together now. Okay, so as I mentioned before, I couldn't get, now that I've welded this plate in this tray, I can't get access to the bottom of it to put the nuts on for when I screw the surge tank in. So what I've done is I've used my new favorite tool again, riv nuts. Just puts a thread in it, works perfect. So my lovely lady's just gone out to grab some more riv nuts, but while I'm waiting for that, it's time to sort out which filter goes on each side. So running two filters, and they look identical, but I thought I'd just point out how to tell which one's which. So I've actually got a 10 micron and 100 micron, and the way to tell is on the inlet side, which on these are the black sides. If I pull this fitting off, just raise that up a bit. If I pull this fitting off, can you see it? There's a number, hopefully you can see that, there's a number 4 in there. So that's the 4. I'll just put this to the side. And this one, I'm not sure if you can see that, but inside there, right in the center, it's got a number, so that one's a number 3. So if you go onto the website and buy these on the Radium website, it tells you, it asks you, do you want a 10 micron, 100 and a 6, and on the end of the code it has I think there's 4 then, 1 2 3 4. So 3 is the 10 micron, and then 4 is the 100 micron. So that's how to know what filter you got. So how I'm going to do this is, from what I've learnt off Mr. Google himself, between the in tank and the surge, so the first filter is the 100 micron, and then after the surge tank to the rails I'll put the 10 micron, which is the 3. So in my setup, this is the first one on this side, so I'll put the 100 micron there, and I'll put the 10 micron or the 3 on this side. Okay, so finished result. Everything is plumbed in, everything is wired, minus this part here, which is the indicator, which is just the LED indicator that'll tell me when this is low on fuel. So it's just hanging up here for now. Just got to send some wires up to the dash and put that green light in. But otherwise everything else is all plumbed up. Happy with my intake, that's all bolted up and plugged up now. Hopefully that doesn't need to come out again. Happy with my AN fittings that Dean welded on for me. And from the existing hoses that goes to the engine bay, to the rails and back, I've just used some push locks to transfer them into AN fittings. So yep, happy with that. So I suppose I'll just go over how it's going to flow. So this is this hose here. It comes from my intake, so it'll come that way. It'll come in here, come up to this filter here, which is 100 microns, then into the surge, out of the twin pumps, which will go into this filter here, which is 10 microns, and then back out into this one here, which is the supply to the rails. After the rails, after the fuel rig, and after the flex fuel sensor, it'll come back in this line here, which is this fitting here, that one, and then the overflow will come out again, back down into the tank. So yep, wiring there, fuses and relays over there for all the wiring. As I've said many times, this is going to be a stage pump setup. So all that is ready to go. The only thing I haven't done, two things, put some holes in here so I can bolt it to the plate, and it's raised up because I've got that weld on fitting that I'll put a hose towel in it, and I've still got to put a hose that'll go to the external of the car and just come out of the wheel well somewhere. And I haven't done it because I'm gonna pull this plate out and change it anyway, but everything else is done. So that was the mission, mainly about just swapping the fittings over and getting it right. And it doesn't help when I change my mind about 20,000 times. But that's it. Stoked. I'm buggered. I need to go to work in a few hours. Hope you enjoyed this episode. With that, I haven't used the Radium gear before, but man, it looks so pretty when it's all on display in that. Another thing which most of you know here in New Zealand is I've got to put a solid plate between the passenger's compartment and here. So I've got to put probably a alley plate across the back, underneath the back seat. It's one of the requirements to get a cert, so the car can be street legal. So it seals off this compartment from the rest of the car. So I'll do that at some stage. Maybe I might do it while I'm getting this plate sorted for the boot, see how I go. Anyway, I'm going to go have a rest. That's it for this episode. Like, subscribe to the channel. Still got a whole heap of stuff to do, and I'm running out of time, so plenty more episodes to come, plus the tuning, plus the aftermath of the tuning, how the car drives. I can't wait for that. I've bought a new goodie for the gearbox, so hopefully that'll turn up soon. And yeah, next episode will be it'll either be making that plate, or I'm gonna start attacking the wiring. It's quite a bit to the wiring, so I might break it down on the board. But anyway, catch me in the next episode. Thanks for the support, thanks for watching, see you next time. Ciao.